Hello, everyone. I am the villainous Ashley Orian. For those who do not know who I am, in which I'm sure a good 99% of you don't, I'll simplify it as I am the owner of this project, as well as the author for Lily's and my story in this project. Also, before I get into this announcement thingy, I would like to say that this is scripted and will be done in one take. So if I sound weird or unnatural or kind of just slip up in different ways, that's why. I just want to cover all the important, such as that kind of slip up. I just want to cover all the important points that I need to cover. The first thing I want to bring up is the schedule. Essentially, this project will be on a hiatus for 3 to 4 weeks and will continue on. Well, it will finish on March 18th. Don't know why I said continue in my script. I should have fixed that. The reason for this is to give me and Phantom Cat, the two available authors for this project, time to make the next chapters as well as a backlog, so the pressure isn't there. This way we can get 4 of the 6 people's stories out there. Though I will say that this channel will still have uploads since my story narration isn't caught up to the Wattpad chapters, so this channel will have new content for you guys to watch. I'm just really bad with narration and kind of hate it. That's why I haven't been doing it. The reason why I'm fine with this one is because it's less. I don't need to do it. I can just. Oh, well, I don't need to do it right on the first take. I can do it, mess up as many times as I want. But basically, if anyone has read the story on Wattpad, you'll get no new content other than the inclusion of narrated versions of chapters. But if you only watch the story here on YouTube, then you'll be getting new content. And I guess this little hiatus may not entirely apply to you. The second thing I would like to talk about is the idea of a Discord server. Currently, there is only one for staff, but I plan to repurpose it to be public. I'm not entirely sure what it'll include at this moment, but I know for sure there will be a channel for announcements and release chapters. It might include channels for official and fan art for the New Game Plus type stuff, but I'll decide that later. The server will hopefully go public March 17th, the day before the next new chapter releases, which will be Ions for chapter 1 if everything goes to plan. The last thing I would like to talk about is basically extra content on this channel. What I would classify as extra content is anything that isn't specifically a chapter, so things like official New Game Plus art, animated segments, and things like videos that are in character. Like gaming, vlogs, other stuff like that is what is an in-video character video. I just give these as examples because, well, they're good ideas. That doesn't mean they are. Well, they are ideas. That doesn't mean they are good ideas. Except, I think Lily doing an in-character gaming session in Let's Build a Dungeon would be funny because that was my first thought when I finished the demo. Because I think that would be an interesting dynamic. I have lost my place in the script. Oh yeah, I know one thing that might be brought up is Patreon being a good way to do extra content, and it would have the added benefit of being able to let people access chapters a week or 2 weeks earlier in our case, and earning money for the project. I bring up like the 2 weeks earlier because obviously our story structure, our release schedule is like a 2 week structure. And of course, most Patreon will give you early access to newer content as an added bonus for paying, which would be fun to do. But I am iffy on doing things that include a paid portion to it on a project based off of something else, since I don't want to get myself sued or some other bad legal thing. You know, genuine worries I have. Because I don't want to get myself sued. I really don't. Anyways, back to the main point I was thinking of, is that extra content will probably happen. I just don't know to what extent. I would love to have more important moments, or perhaps one that we would love to be visually actually get animated and added as extra content. Mostly, I think this extra content will be more aligned to side stories and official New Game Plus art. But if we want to add anything else, we will. It kind of just depends on what we as a group want. I guess that's the best way to phrase it. But before I end this sort of section, I would like to talk about side stories because in storytelling such as this, it's hard to It's hard to tell what would be considered a side story or spin off. Basically, side stories will be self contained moments that don't contribute to any developing plot. And if they do, it would take place after the Savior has been defeated instead of during that timeline. Sort of basing them off the structure of side stories in the actual Guardian Tales game, since you can fit those stories into several different areas of the story, and it would still make sense. These will happen, I just don't know when they will. Another thing I would like to add is that, and I put this in quotation, side story stuff, end quotes, will happen as well. I put it in quotes since this is really similar to the Arrowverse in terms of that some episodes will contribute to a crossover arc, and on top of that, some characters such as Florence or the trio Ashley is friends with, which if you're only watching on YouTube, you would not know them. You will know them soon once I get that episode narrated. But basically, these characters might get a one shot or a few dedicated chapters that will contribute to the greater plot, unlike the side stories. One of these like spin-off things I 100% know I'm going to do is the Violent Cleric's origin story, where you'll learn more about her abilities and why she has visual features from the two characters from that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Because if you don't know, for those who don't know in story, she looks a bit like two characters right there, and it's never explained why, and it probably won't be until this origin story is done. However, that will be a lot more in the future once you actually have once you guys as the readers know a lot more about who this violent cleric actually is, because obviously you only know that she's evil and that she's violent and that she has killed a few people in a previous time loop. But on the topic of crossovers with the reincarnated as a slime, I will say that anything that has had a crossover with either Guardian Tales or Dungeon Link are canon to the New Game Plus story, though they are still separated by reality, basically needing a portal to get there still. Much like how it functions in the original Guardian Tales lore, because, you know, in the free run story, at the end of the dungeon, they have to go through the portal, they forget. In the slime one, they grab the mana drive, that's how they go back. I don't remember if they forget or not, I don't think they did. They might have. I don't remember entirely. This means that characters meeting, like characters like Phantom, Lily, Lupina, Florence, meeting Rimuru, Freeran, or Finn the Human is entirely possible. But I will say that with the God, I cannot say this word. With the expectation, no, not the expectation. With the exception of the Violent Cleric, is that the crossovers won't be prevalent. Like, they won't be here until at least the unrecorded world in the timeline. So, you know, we're not confusing people who just are trying to read the story. That is all the announcements I needed to tell everyone. I hope you enjoy the storyline we have planned, and, well, are still planning because we still have some things we need to work out, but we wanted to start and get out the stuff we do have because we have a lot of the earlier stuff for you. So we're writing it, and we're crafting it for you guys, and I hope you all enjoy.